fellow cyborgs, and welcome to the first tag video I've done in a long time. This is the Shakespeare tag created by Libby Stevenson, and I was in fact tagged by her as well. I will link her original video down below. Question number 1, what was my first exposure to Shakespeare? It's possible that I had been exposed to a cartoon parody of a Shakespeare play in my childhood, but I couldn't pinpoint anything. The first play I ever read, though, was Romeo and Juliet in 9th grade when I was a freshman in high school. 2, what Shakespeare plays and poems have you read? In high school, as a freshman, I read Romeo and Juliet, Twelfth Night as a sophomore, King Lear as a junior, and Hamlet as a senior. I then took a Shakespeare's tragedies course in community college, and I read Hamlet again, King Lear again, Julius Caesar, Antony and Cleopatra, Othello. I think that was it for that class. And then my Shakespeare stopped until I discovered Libby Stevenson's Bard Book Club, and for that I've read A Midsummer Night's Dream, Richard II, Henry IV Part 1, and Measure for Measure. And then I've also read his sonnets, also because of Libby Stevenson. Question number 3 is, which plays have I seen either on the stage or through film? I haven't seen very many Shakespeare on stage, and I was planning on seeing more this year, but the theaters right now are shut down, so we'll see when that can happen. But in 2010, I went to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and there I saw Hamlet and Twelfth Night. Just last year in November, I saw Twelfth Night at the Old Globe Theater in San Diego, which was hysterical. I loved that one. I remember almost nothing about the Oregon Shakespeare Festival plays, so I have seen many a movie, though. I've seen the 1999 A Midsummer Night's Dream, Othello with Kenneth Branagh and Lawrence Fishburne, the 1968 Romeo and Juliet, lots of those actors were really hot, and then I'm pretty sure I've seen Romeo plus Juliet of 1996. I have also seen Romeo and Juliet as portrayed in a awful play in Hot Fuzz, so I think that still counts. I think I've seen a Macbeth at some point during high school, but I couldn't quite tell which one it was. I think it was the 1971 version. And I'm also pretty sure I've seen a King Lear adaptation at school, but I couldn't find the exact version, mostly because there are just so many and I didn't want to have to look through all of them on IMDb. I have seen The Taming of the Shrew of 1967 with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. That one was upsetting. And I've also seen many more times 10 Things I Hate About You, which is a modern adaptation of Taming of the Shrew. I've seen the 1996 Twelfth Night with Toby Stephens. I've seen Much Ado About Nothing, the Kenneth Branagh film with Emma Thompson, many times. And then I've seen a buttload, like 5 Hamlet adaptations. I've seen the very upsetting 1991 with Mel Gibson, the 1996 Kenneth Branagh production, the 2009 David Tennant adaptation where he's barefoot like the whole time. And at a movie theater in Canada, when I was living there, I did see the 2015 Benedict Cumberbatch version. I don't remember very much about that one. It was fine, I think. I think I prefer the Kenneth Branagh one. I do own that one, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen any of the other ones more than once. Question number 4, do you have a favorite edition of the complete works? I don't. However, I am semi-collecting the Pan Macmillan Collector's Library edition. I really, really like the Hamlet one. I think that this cover is just really beautiful. And then we've also got spoilers on the back. And then I also have the King Lear one as well, which is not quite so beautiful. I don't particularly recommend those editions for the ease of reading, though. There aren't notes in the text. They've changed some character names, like a easier spelling of Gloucester, which frankly is part of the rite of passage of reading King Lear. So I don't really recommend those, but I do like their packaging and that they're small and cute, though they don't have all of his works in that by any means. They just have like the big ones, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get any more. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. As far as not pretty editions, quote unquote, go, though, I prefer these ones. These are the Signet Classics, and the thing that I really like about these is that it's not text on one page and then notes on the other page or modern translation on the other page. I like how you have the play on both pages, because there's something very lopsided to me about reading the text only on one side of the page and only having the other side for notes. It feels very uneven of an experience, and there's something about that that just upsets me. Question number 5 asks what my favorite comedy is. I have not read very many comedies at all. I think I've read 2. So out of A Midsummer Night's Dream and Measure for Measure wins. I think A Midsummer Night's Dream is just kind of too absurd for me, and I like the moral quandaries in here quite a bit. Is it truly a comedy? That's for Libby Stevenson to decide. Favorite history? Again, I have read 2. I've read Richard II and Henry IV Part 1. Richard II definitely wins because it is very beautifully written and it also has John of Gaunt. Number 7 asks for my favorite tragedy. Historically, that has been Hamlet because the goth inside of me cannot resist emo boys who are broken. However, I recently reread this, or tried to, earlier this year and had a really hard time getting through it. So I enjoyed rereading King Lear as a tragedy more recently. So take what you will from that conclusion. Question number 8, your least favorite play. That would be King Henry IV Part 1. I think I gave that 2 out of 5 stars. Didn't really enjoy it very much and consequently did not finish the Part 2. Didn't do it. Question number 9, which play would you like to direct? So I thought about this fleetingly and I decided that in a magical world where I could direct a Shakespeare play, that I would do King Lear, but I would make it all set under the sea with merpeople. King Lear would be a la King Triton from Disney's The Little Mermaid, and all of his daughters and everybody else involved, like Edmund and Edgar, they would all be, it's Edmund and Edgar, right? They would all be mermaids too. It would all be like the 7 daughters of King Triton, and it would be even more like convoluted and like weird and Oedipal than it already was. And of course, Ariel would be like Cordelia, and it would still be tragic and awful, but instead it would just be Disney's merpeople. So, plus King Triton, I would like to see his comeuppance. And seeing some like crazy merpeople, I think that would be fun. So that's my plan. Question number 10 is a 2-parter, but I'm going to answer the second one, which is what lesser known play am I most excited to read? Because I have not read any of the lesser known plays, I have only read the highlights. Libby Stevenson speaks so highly of Troilus and Cressida that whenever she says we are reading it for the Bard Book Club, I will probably be joining in. And I am not a teacher nor a performer, so I cannot answer the bonus question. So that is the Shakespeare tag. Judge me as you will. I kind of feel like I've read more Shakespeare plays than I think I have, but then also less because, like, again, my knowledge of Shakespeare plays is pretty much the tragedies, most of which I've read solely once, and then as far as comedies and histories, I've read just like 2 or 3. Not a complete Shakespeare noob, but definitely have more to learn from Miss Libby. Thank you so much for tagging me, Libby, and to any of you who feel like doing this tag, who have felt that they can participate in this tag, then please do consider yourself tagged by myself. Please answer any of those questions in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your Shakespeare opinions, or link your video if you make it down below in the comment section as well. Thank you for watching, and until next time, continue to be lovely, and maybe read some Shakespeare. Julius Caesar